welcome to my channel. My name is Divinity Khoji. I hope you are doing well. So I just wanted to come here and talk about something that has just been on my mind quite a bit lately. Now, some of you know that there's a video that I uploaded here a while back, and I had all the intentions in the world about what I'm going to do, and I committed and I communicated that commitment, and then I didn't quite live up to it. And then I had been like planning and planning and planning for quite a while to actually stick to those commitments and actually do what I had said that I will do. But you know what? There's something that I've heard quite a lot that I think is quite important, and that is the importance of knowing your why. Why are you doing something? What is the reason for it? What is the motivation for it? And also, what do you want to achieve at the end of the day having done that, right? But something else that I've heard is the importance of doing. It's important to just start and get going with whatever it is that you want to do, and not trying to figure it out from the get-go, and not trying to see the end at the beginning, because sometimes that's just not possible. And I mentally knew all of this information, but I didn't really do anything about it. And I suppose, yes, it's got something to do with timing, timing and understanding that everything has its own time. And so it's important that we are not too harsh on ourselves when we at times don't do things within a set specific time period or time frame. It's important that we understand that some things, even if you may try them or you may do them, they might not go well, or they might not pick up, or they might not even materialize. And that's not to say that what you wanted to do is bad or it's not good enough, or you need to change your game plan altogether. It can just really be a timing thing. But what I want to actually focus on is that doing part of it all, because I think what I sometimes stumble at, or what I don't want to use the word fail, because I don't think I necessarily fail, but it's something that becomes a stumbling block for me, and that's planning. So like, I'm a big planner. I'm really a person that likes to see the beginning, the end at the beginning. I'm really a person that wants to figure it all out, and by the time I start, I want it to be perfect to the T. And that often then becomes the place where I get stuck, because if I figure out step 1 and step 2 and step 3, and then I don't figure out step 4 and 5, and then I'm like, no ways, then what's gonna happen? If I don't know how many steps there are in totality before I can reach my end goal, then I get stuck, and I don't actually follow through. And I'm also like a very inspired person. Like, I thrive on inspiration, and I thrive in the moment of being inspired by something or with something. And so, for example, so I write, right? I'm a writer, and most of my writing I do in a moment of inspiration. I may be sleeping and something comes to me. I may be, I don't know, maybe on the road. I may be watching something or listening to something, and then I get inspired on a topic, or on a theme, or whatever the case may be, and then I write on it. But that, I've learned, is not the way to sustain my gift. It's not the way to sustain my writing. If I want to grow as a writer, if I want to grow in my writing, I need to not rely solely on inspiration. Because what happens the times that I'm not inspired, and what happens if I'm in like a down season, and then how do I manage that situation? Because in a down season and I'm not inspired, then it means that throughout that time I actually don't write. But I've also learned that through writing, I'm able to get out of like tough times mentally and emotionally. because writing can be quite therapeutic for me. And so then I've learned to be able to master my craft through discipline and through commitment. So I may start writing something off by inspiration, but that not doesn't mean that for me to see it through, I need to be inspired. Because in the moment of inspiration, I can write a paragraph, I can write just the title, or I can write just the full page. But then if I do write just a paragraph or just the title, what happens to the rest of the content? I don't actually get to finish it, and I found that to be so limiting in the times that I don't write necessarily inspired pieces, and I'm writing either an article or I'm writing a commissioned piece. And then what happens then, because there's no inspiration there, there's research there, there's discipline there, there's commitment there, it takes me waking up that day or taking time out in my day to say, okay, I'm going to focus on this, I'm going to write it, and I'm going to finish it because I have to submit it at some point, or I have to perform it at some point. So then I found that in those moments, then the inspiration actually has nothing to do with it. And so inspiration comes in handy and comes in useful when you have to start, but it doesn't mean that inspiration is actually going to carry you through. Then you need discipline, then you need commitment to actually carry you through so that you can finish the task that you started. And so I'm using writing as an example, but it can be literally anything in life where you are inspired, or you got a dream. You've got a dream, you've got a goal that, this is what I want to do, and then you are inspired to start and to do it. Let's say you watch motivational videos, let's say you speak to someone about it, and you really are inspired in the moment or in that season, and it's so easy to do, and you just go right ahead and you do it. But now, what happens when that inspiration wears off? Because that inspiration will wear off, trust you me. What happens when it wears off? Are you still going to follow through with what you started, or are you going to give up? Are you still going to want to do what you wanted to do? And I think that's where this why thing comes in. It comes in to say, you were inspired, but why were you inspired? What did you want to see it through to this thing? What did you want to achieve at the end of it all? And if you haven't achieved it, and you're not moving in it because now you're not inspired, again, what is the why behind that? Is it just simply because you're not inspired, or is it simply because your goal has changed? Because that happens as well, where you change course of direction, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you know that this is the reason that I'm not continuing in this direction anymore, if you know that this is then you know if you need to deal with it or not. Then you know if you need to be proactive in doing something about it. Because also we are sometimes trapped by the guilt of not finishing off things. We're trapped by the guilt of not achieving certain things. But if we know the why behind it, and then we are able to actually move on in peace. We're actually able to let go of that guilt, or answer back to that guilt and say, actually, no, you're not going to trip me up. You're not going to hold me back. You're not going to haunt me. This is my why for this, right? So I think, yes, the emphasis on the why has always been that you know why you are doing something, but I've realized that it's important as well to know why you are not doing something, so that, like I'm saying, you know if there's something that you need to do about that, or you know if that's something that you don't need to do about it. So that is like the first thing that I want to highlight. Yes, know why you want to do something, but also know why you don't want to do something, or why you are not doing something, because it just gives you peace, it just gives you clarity. Because sometimes you decide that I'm not doing it because it's just not the time for it. Sometimes you decide that you're not doing it because you're just not in the right head space or emotional space. Sometimes you're not doing it because you don't have the capacity. Sometimes you're not doing it, like I said, because it's just not the course of direction that you want to go in. So it's just important that you know all of those things so that you are able to not live in a state or be in a state of feeling like you are a failure or you are not achieving. That's the first thing. The second thing then is, like I'm saying, um, it's in the doing. Clarity comes in the doing, not in the planning. The things that I've gotten stuck at the planning phase, I found that when I just did it, when I just started with whatever I had, with whatever, and when I say whatever I had, I don't mean it necessarily in resources. Um, I, in terms of money or product or whatever the case may be, I mean in terms of information. If I've got 2% information at that starting point, that information is actually 100% until I realize more information. Then I can look back to that information and say it was 2%, but now I've got 4% or 10% because I've actually learned a little bit more. So, because we sometimes undermine what we have, the information that we have at the time that we have it because we want to get more information. But what is the more information? You don't even know. You don't even know what you're looking for. So wherever you are with whatever you have in terms of information, in terms of that idea at its infancy, at yes, you'll do obviously the necessary research that you can do at that particular time. You don't know what to look for if you don't know what you're looking for, type of thing. And you'll find that sometimes you'll get feedback from other people as you do it, and you'll get to know if it's client facing or customer based business. When those people give you feedback, then you know what people want and you're able to refine your idea according to that, and you're able to meet a demand that you perhaps didn't even quite fully know is there before you started. So it's important that you just get on with it and start doing it. Nothing grows with you just fostering it. If you've got a seed and you just keep it in your pocket or you keep it in the jar, you keep it in a packet, that seed is not going to grow into anything. It needs to be in the ground so that it can actually produce something. So there's no point in keeping that seed and hoping that whatever fruit you expect out of it is going to come out, but you actually didn't even put it in the ground. And it's the same as ideas, it's the same as aspirations, it's the same for dreams, it's the same for goals, it's the same for visions, it's the same for whatever it is that we want. We need to get to a point where we actually just do it, and then we'll get clarity, we'll get understanding as we do it, you know. And then the third thing is just not to be under pressure. Don't be under pressure with time. Don't put yourself under pressure to say by this time I need. Yes, you can put time frames to something if you want to say that this is what I'm starting now, and but put realistic time frames. You know, don't put. I was speaking to a friend a couple of weeks ago, and there was something that my husband and I were frustrated about, and she said, well, technically speaking, if we look at the time, it's only been a couple of weeks. Like you guys are frustrated and you want to see result, but what result will you have seen in a couple of weeks? So it's just to rest in the knowledge that at whatever point you are, as long as you are moving, you are making progress. So we've all heard of the saying of um, progress over perfection. As long as you are moving, you are making progress. As long as you are moving, you are learning. As long as you are moving, you are getting closer to it. As long as you are moving, you are achieving something. Even if it doesn't feel like it, even if it doesn't look like it, you are accumulating experience, you know. And so It's just not to put pressure on yourself to say that if I'm not at this point, or if I haven't done that, or if I haven't achieved that, then I'm not the person that I thought I would be, or I don't have what I thought I would have. There was a time when and this is like back in 2019, where I was so stressed. I was so stressed because I felt like I wasn't achieving anything. I was so stressed because I felt like I wasn't at the place that I wanted to be at. But I also realized, when I really, really now in hindsight to look at the situation, that I wasn't very intentional. I wasn't very intentional in what I was doing. I wasn't intentional in terms of where I want to go. And so a couple of years later now, I'm like, oh, I'm not where I want to be, but where is it that I wanted to be? And did I do anything about that? So, because if I had done something about it, I would have been making some sort of progress. There is something else that I hear being said a lot, that where you are now and what you have now is something that you've been praying for a long time. But now we never realize that, and we never recognize that, because for us it has to look a particular way, and if it doesn't look green, then it's not it. If it's mint, if it's mint green, if it's I'm not going to be able to recognize it, because it's not the kind of green that I wanted it to be. But it's important that we be able to recognize whatever progress we are making, and trust that we will eventually get there. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to end it for today. And yeah, I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you so much for joining me, and let me know your thoughts about what I've said in the comment section, and I hope you'll subscribe if you liked this video, and hit the thumbs up as well. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.